back to Diecast Graveyard. I'm your host, Uncle Paulie. We've got a really cool build today. We got a Hot Wheels Warpath. Now this car was designed after the AMX2, and this one's going to be a lot of fun to restore. So go ahead and grab your favorite adult beverage and join me today for the build and the restoration of the Hot Wheels Warpath. Let's go ahead and get started. I've already got the car drilled apart. Now this car only has one post, which is in the front. The rear of the car is held in by the exhaust pipes in the back of the car. So you have to wiggle that free once you get the post drilled out. Go ahead and poke out the windshield there. Now here's the body. It's got an incredibly tiny, narrow post, so we're going to have to use 1-72 screws. In comparison to a newer car, we would use a 256 screw for that. So there's the difference between the width of the two posts. So again, you're going to have to be incredibly careful when you drill out the post on an older Hot Wheels car, or especially a Hot Wheels Redline. Here's the two different drill bits you would use. Trying to show you the lettering here. There it is. Okay. The one on the bottom is a 1/16 inch bit. The one on top is a 5/64 bit. Now the 1/16 is what you would use for a 1-72 screw. Now that's the one you'd use for the older red lines. The 5/64 bit is one you would use with a more modern car, something that you would maybe get like a mainline at Walmart or something like that. So there's the difference between the two bits there. You want to use the smaller one, of course, for the red line cars. Let's go ahead and continue. Alright, here's the body. We're definitely going to strip this down. We're going to do everything, like I said, and restore it. We're going to repaint the body white. We're going to put some new decals on it. Here's the base. Now we're going to replace the wheels. The wheels are pretty worn out. Now I've got a more modern car with the replicate redline wheels, or the replica redline wheels, excuse me. So we're going to replace those. Here's the interior. We'll clean it up with soapy water and a toothbrush. Now the older AMX2 car, when you lifted up the flap, there was actually an engine inside there, but this one doesn't have one. The glass is in good shape, so we're going to clean that up. Let's move on. Alright, here we're going to drill out the post. Again, the older redline cars, we're going to use the 1/16 inch drill bit. Take your time, make sure that your drill bit is centered in the post, because if you waver any on these small posts, you're going to have a problem, I promise you. Take your time. Every so often, stop drilling. Clean out the metal that you've taken out with your drill bit and continue. But also monitor how far in your drill bit has gone, because you don't want to drill past the end of the post and drill out the top of the hood of your car or wherever your post may be. Now a drop of oil here would also be a good thing. And make sure you use oil. I mean, WD-40 works, but WD-40 really is not oil. It's a penetrating fluid, etc. And it's just not oil. So you might want to, like I said, use regular motor oil in just a drop. Now here I'm using my fingernail and I'm checking how much or how deep we've gone into the post. A little bit of a close-up here so you can see better. There you go. Now again, I use my fingernail to see how far I've drilled in. That's gone pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and continue on to the next step. All right, we've got the post drilled out, but now we're going to tap the post. Here I'm using a 1-72 tap, And this is going to go ahead and put threads in there so we can easily put in the screw. Now some people say, oh, I'll use the self-tapping screws. Well, that's all well and good, and all those screws that you use there are self-tapping. But sometimes you may strip the end of the screw and it'll give you a hard time getting it back out. And if you tap it, it's going to allow you to put that screw in a lot easier. Now here I'm using a T5 Torx screwdriver. And this is what I use for the little small screws with the little hex bit on the end. Let's go ahead and put this bad boy in there. And it fits perfect and it's nice and snug. There it is. Now this is the 1/8 inch length when it comes to the length of the screw. Alright, here we're going to dip the body in the embalming fluid, aka citrus strip. Just knock off all the excess, or even take a brush and wipe off the excess. I put it on a tray and then I'll let it set where I can see it, and then when it's all stripped I'll know it's ready. Alright, we cleaned it up with Zep degreaser after we got it out of the paint stripper. We're going to use white opaque paint, and we got that from the Redline shop. We're going to use activator hardener and mix that up and get ready to paint this car.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Here I've got some fine replica decals that I got from Second Chance Redlines. Vince makes a great product. Now he also has his own decal setting solution. Who can you trust if you can't trust the guy that makes decals for a living? And this decal solution works very good. So go ahead and put that on the surface of the car where you're going to be placing your decal, and it will help the glue, the adhesive from the decal, to help affix the decal better to the car. Now I use warm water in the bowl, and that also helps release the decal from the paper a lot quicker. Now another tip here, put a sponge or something in the bowl. Not so it's floating, but it soaks up the water. Dip your decal in the water, set it on top of the sponge, then your decal won't float away on you in the water. Now use a Q-tip and squeegee out the excess fluid out from underneath the decal, and that will help it stick better also. And go ahead and squeegee out that excess fluid and make sure it's centered exactly where you need it to be. Man, these decals pop on that white opaque paint. This is fantastic. Check out what other colors they have at the Redline shop. Now, Vince at Second Chance Redlines also has his own line of paint, and it's called Retro Flame. Now, I feature that in some of my videos before, but it's a fantastic product, so go to Second Chance Redline's website and check out the paint products that he has to offer. I'm using the Q-tip here because there are some recesses in the hood on the car where those blue, that blue field with the white stars goes. And I'm trying to squeegee out as much fluid as I possibly can. And again, make sure that the decal adheres good to the body. That thing fits absolutely perfect. Let's go ahead and continue on to the next step, but check out this decal setting solution available at Second Chance Redlines. Now when I put the car on the helping hands, before it wasn't a problem when I went to paint it, but what I did here is I used a piece of masking tape and I folded it over on itself and stuck that underneath the car to use the helping hands to help hold the car in place. And here's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these decals on. It doesn't take long for these decals to separate once you use warm or hot water in the dish that you use for your decals. And again, I don't have a sponge in this bowl, but I do use it quite often when it comes to putting the decals on there and just letting them sit. I also keep a dish of Q-tips nearby, and I can grab one when I need one to help soak up the water or reposition the decal, etc., etc. Try and get your decal as centered as you possibly can. And again, squeegee out the excess fluid. Let's go ahead and continue on to the next step. Here we've got the base of the car. We're going to use my Dremel with my titanium bits, and we're going to grind out the little section that holds the axles in place. Now these titanium bits are worth their weight in gold, folks. They're available at my Amazon Marketplace page, which is in the comments. There's a lot of things there that you might be looking for to help you with your hobby. I've gone through and I've painstakingly found the products that I use and other products I would recommend for someone that is getting into this hobby. So check out the Amazon Marketplace page. Again, the link is in the comments. Copy it and then paste it into your web browser. We got the old wheels out. Now we're going to take this abrasive wheel, and it's kind of like a Scotch Brite pad, and we're going to remove all of the oxidation on the base of the car. Now sometimes I would go ahead and polish up the base, but this oxidation, or this Scotch Brite wheel, removes almost all of the tarnish on there, and it makes the base look fantastic. So it didn't need to be polished. Now it normally takes at least one wheel to polish these cars up. So I buy them by the bag, and they're very reasonable. They're like 100 of them for like $18 or something like that. And they do last you a pretty good time. That's looking really good. Now from this point here, if you wanted to polish it up, you could go ahead and polish it up using some Flitz polish and making it look really good. But like I said, it looks fantastic the way it is, so we're not going to have to polish it. Now it's time to put in the wheels. Here I've got some reproduction wheels from a newer Hot Wheels car, and they fit absolutely perfect. If I can keep from juggling the wheels. Okay, that one's a little bit long in the axle, so we're going to go ahead and trim that out. Take some wire cutters, trim off as much as we need, and then we're going to take the fence pliers and we're going to squeeze the end so the wheel won't come off. There we go. Here's the fence pliers. Now I got these at Harbor Freight, and they're like $9 for a pair. Now these things do wear out. Even if you buy a good one, a good set of fence pliers like from DeWalt or something, eventually they also will wear out because you're squeezing those little hard wires and it tends to wear out the end. So just be aware of that. That fits in there nice. We're going to go ahead and get some of this Gorilla Super Glue, the gel kind, and use this activator hardener and get those wheels set in place. Here's all of our parts. Here's the body of the car with the decals from Second Chance red lines. Once we got the decals on and they set for 24 hours, we went ahead and clear coated it with clear coat from the Redline shop. Here we've got the reproduction wheels that I found off another Hot Wheel. I think it was like a MIG rig or something like that. Now the year says 1969, but that's the year the AMX2 came out, not the Warpath. So even if your car says 1969, it was not produced in 1969. That was the copyright. Windshield looks good, so does the interior.
Someone is being exhumed.
And here's what we started with, a Hot Wheels Warpath. Now, even though this is a Redline car technically, it's more one of the later versions of a Redline car because it's got the wheels where the axle actually comes all the way through the wheel. The car was actually overall in pretty good shape. We went ahead and we took the car apart. We evaluated the parts. We did the autopsy. We saw that we had to repaint the car and replace all the decals. We also had to replace the wheels on the car. Now the windshield and the interior was in pretty good shape, so we were good to go there. We also had to take the tarnish off the base of the car So we got that all shined up and ready to go. Let's go ahead and see the results of today's restoration. And here's what we got to. Look at how beautiful this restoration turned out. It looks better than factory new. Again, we took the car apart. We painted it with the white base coat from the Redline shop. Once that was done, we put brand new decals on from Second Chance Redlines. And those turned out fantastic. They fit absolutely perfect. We cleaned the windshield, we cleaned the interior, we replaced the wheels, and those wheels look fantastic. Now check out some of the Hot Wheels classics, etc., especially if you're looking for some of these old Redline wheels. If not, and you want to put real Redlines on there, go ahead and check out Second Chance Redlines, because they have the bearings made by Grizz at Bearcat 3D Designs. With all the suppliers of the paint and the parts and the decals and the tires, etc., you can do a beautiful reproduction or restoration of your cars. Here's a couple of customs I made, and I used the decals from Second Chance Redlines. This new banana split gasser. Now, Vince has a 10% off using the code DGY10 at checkout. So check out the website at www.secondchanceredlines.com. These are all the different sponsors that I have. We got Samed Wheels, we got Spray Gunner, Second Chance Redlines, Flitz, and the Redline shop. Now I've also got my QR code on the back, which will take you directly to my YouTube channel, and it's also signed and autographed on the back. Here is a reproduction or a restoration that I did of a Tommy Q and Mongoose car. Now Vince sent me the car, he sent me the decals and all the replacement parts so I could restore this car for him, and then when I was done, I put it on the custom card, and that turned out absolutely beautiful. So check out Second Chance Redlines for your restoration needs. The decals fit absolutely perfect. This car turned out fantastic. Very happy with it. Thank you for joining me today in Diecast Graveyard. Again, I'm your host, Uncle Paulie. We got a lot more videos coming out. We've got some build-offs in progress and some coming up. And we've got a lot of other things happening in the diecast world. Thank you again for joining me today. Have a great afternoon, and cheers.